when we think about leadership, I talk a lot about using your strengths in leadership. And in that last video, I did say briefly, right, that not all leaders are the same, that it is an art and that people do things a little bit differently. Strengths for me is the best way to really get my head around what that looks like for a leader. So let's just think, when we use the StrengthsFinder assessment or the CliftonStrengths Assessment, we talk about 4 domains of strengths. And just thinking about those domains can help us think about how leadership might be different. So the first of those domains is relationship building. So a leader who leads with relationship building strengths is really going to focus on understanding me as a person, getting to know me, spending more time with me. That is really going to be their bent. And I am generally going to want to do what that leader is asking me to do primarily because of that relationship, right? Relationships are important in every leadership follower role, but in a relationship-oriented leader, they're going to really take first billing, right? They're going to be the thing that is most important. If we think about the domain of strategic thinking, a leader who leads from strategic thinking is really going to be more of that expert leader. They are going to have lots of information, and you are always going to feel like they are very competent and they know what they're doing, right? So when they're leading from that place of strategic thinking, they're going to be really thoughtful. They're going to have a lot of information typically, and most people are going to really see them as an expert in whatever they are leading forward with, because they're going to come in with all the data and all the information and have things really well laid out. Again, the other pieces are going to be important, but that's really going to be what they're going to be putting out forward first. The third domain is executing. So an executing leader is going to be really great at making things happen and getting things done. And so this might be a leader who really leads from the trenches, who feels more like somebody who's beside you, doing things with you at the same time, right? They might not be the visionary that the strategic thinker is. They might not always have that super deep relationship with everybody on their team, but they are going to be doing the work and making things happen. And you're always going to know that whatever they say they're going to do, they're going to do that because they are an executor, right? That's what they're really going to lead with. And then finally, our final domain of strengths is influencing. People who really lead with the influencing themes are going to be really inspirational, right? They're going to have a lot of ideas. They're going to lead from that big picture vision, and they're really going to help people feel like what they do matters. And why the little things that they're doing contribute to the greater vision of the organization or the team or the project, right? And so they're going to really lead from that influencing, inspirational place. That's where they're going to start from. So we could break it down by the 34 themes from StrengthsFinder. So each and every strength is going to lead a little bit differently, and then even more differently because of how they combine with each other. But going through those 4 domains, you can really see how leadership can look really different depending on the person and their strengths. All leadership is going to have a little bit of all of those things, right? But each leader is going to lead best when they are starting with what they bring to the table. Right? So when they're starting with their strengths and trying to do that, that's when they're going to be the best. A leader who has a lot of executing talents and does not have a lot of influencing talents and tries to be the front of the room, big picture, inspirational leader is going to really struggle, right? Because that's not where they lead from best. They are always going to lead best from that executing domain, because that's really where they come from and where their superpowers and their strengths lie. So I hope that kind of clarifies that leadership can look really different, and your best style of leadership comes from who you are and from your strengths. It is not a magic formula. It's an art. There's not one way to do this really well, but there is your way and the best way for you to lead.